Dr. Ethan Cole woke up on his 35th birthday with the same quiet routine he had followed for years. He lived on the orbital research station Aurora Prime, a floating city in the neutral sector of the galaxy. The station was bustling, but the halls he walked were calm this morning. The hum of engines and the soft glow of the observation windows were his only company. Ethan was a human among aliens, and for most, humans were an unremarkable species. But he had earned respect through his work, and today was supposed to be just another day in his life. He stretched and went to the kitchen module to make himself a cup of synthesized coffee. The station's automated systems prepared it perfectly. As always. Ethan smiled faintly. It wasn't that he cared much about birthdays, but he couldn't deny a small sense of anticipation. Maybe this year would be different. The day began normally, with meetings and experiments. Ethan's specialty was studying interspecies biology, particularly focusing on rare species that had not interacted with humans before. His colleagues admired his skill and patience, and many considered him a quiet genius. Still, he never expected surprises, especially the kind that were about to arrive. At noon, a bright notification flashed across the central communication hub. Incoming transport pod. It read. Ethan frowned. Delivery pods came often, but the message didn't list a sender. Curious, he walked over, adjusting his lab coat. The pod's identification code was unusual, almost ceremonial in its structure, and it carried an aura of importance he had never seen before. The pod's hatch opened slowly with a soft hiss, revealing two figures standing inside. Ethan froze. At first glance, they looked humanoid, but their features were unlike anything he had ever seen. Their skin was pale with a subtle luminescence, their eyes glowing faintly violet, and their hair flowed like liquid silver. Their posture was perfect, and even in silence, they radiated authority. The taller of the two stepped forward. She had an elegance that made the station lights seem dull by comparison. "Greetings," she said in a melodious voice. "I am Lyria, and this is my sister, Celine. We are here by the invitation of your associates." Ethan blinked. I don't understand." "Who sent you?" he asked, stepping back instinctively. Lyria's violet eyes softened slightly. "We are a gift, a gesture of trust and respect. You, human, have earned the attention of those who consider interstellar diplomacy crucial. Our presence is your birthday present." Ethan's mind struggled to process the words. Two alien princesses, vampires no less, sent to him as a birthday gift? It sounded like something out of a strange Hollywood story. He looked at the pod's control panel, searching for an explanation. There was none. Only a simple holographic note from his alien friends. "Treat them with respect. This is a rare honor." The term vampire crossed his mind, and he suppressed a shiver. In legend, vampires were predators, but these beings did not display aggression. Instead, they moved with grace and intelligence, studying him as much as he studied them. Ethan reminded himself that in the galaxy, legends were often truths twisted by distance and fear. These two were likely as intelligent and sophisticated as any high-ranking diplomat. He gestured for them to step out of the pod. They did so smoothly, their movements fluid and precise, yet without malice. Lyria tilted her head slightly, as if observing every detail of him, the way he moved, the tension in his shoulders, the cautious curiosity in his eyes. Celine, the shorter sister, remained quiet, but her gaze was sharp, taking in every corner of the lab module. Ethan finally spoke, trying to sound calm. I appreciate the gesture, but I'm not sure I understand why you're here. And what exactly do you mean by a gift?" Lyria smiled faintly, a gesture both regal and gentle. "In our culture, we are sometimes sent as symbols. Our presence is meant to honor your intellect and courage. We are not here to harm, nor to be treated as objects. We are here to observe, to learn, and to establish trust." Ethan let out a breath he didn't know he was holding. It was intimidating, yes, but also strangely exciting. Two beings, with centuries of knowledge. And yet, they were curious about him. They wanted to interact. The idea was terrifying and fascinating at the same time. "Okay," he said finally. "Then let's start with introductions. I'm Dr. Ethan Cole. I study biology, and I work with various species across the galaxy." Celine nodded, her expression unreadable but respectful. "We are aware of your work. Your research has reached distant corners of the sectors, including areas we seldom visit. You have earned our attention." Ethan raised an eyebrow. "That's impressive, I guess. But why me?" Lyria's eyes shone brighter, almost like a star reflected in her pupils. "Because humans are rare. Your kind is underestimated. Yet you accomplish feats your species should not be able to. You innovate, adapt, and endure. It is for these qualities we have been sent." The words resonated with Ethan in ways he could not have imagined. Humans were often dismissed in interstellar politics, treated as inconsequential, fragile beings. And yet, here were two alien princesses, acknowledging his species' potential. It was an honor unlike anything he had ever received. He led them to the observation deck, a place where the galaxy stretched in an endless panorama. The stars, planets, and nebulae shimmered in hues that even the best holovids could not replicate. The princesses moved silently, their gazes fixed on the cosmic scenery. Ethan could sense that they were not just looking, they were analyzing, absorbing, and learning. "Beautiful, isn't it?" Ethan said softly. "You can't see this from any planet. You have to be here, floating among the stars." Lyria inclined her head. "It is intriguing. Your humans speak often of beauty, yet we see it in data and patterns. Here, it is different. It resonates." Ethan smiled faintly. "Then you're welcome. I guess. Though, I still have no idea how to treat this kind of gift." Celine's expression softened slightly. "Treat us as equals. Respect is more meaningful than fear. Curiosity is stronger than dominance. You, human, have the potential to teach us something new. That is why we are here." Ethan felt a mix of pride and disbelief. A human teaching alien vampire princesses? It sounded absurd. Yet, looking at them, he could feel their intelligence and willingness to engage. The thought that humans might contribute meaningfully in a galaxy of advanced beings was thrilling. The day passed quickly. Ethan introduced them to the station's simple routines. They observed his lab work, noting his careful handling of samples and his methodical approach. Their questions were precise, insightful, and sometimes challenging. Ethan, in turn, explained human biology, culture, and logic in simple terms. He realized that in their curiosity, the princesses were slowly revealing cracks in the arrogance of their own species, something he had never expected. By evening, the station crew gathered for a small birthday celebration. Lights shimmered across the observation deck, and the hum of engines provided a low background melody. Ethan's colleagues looked at the princesses with awe and a hint of fear. Few had ever seen their kind so close. Lyria and Celine remained composed, yet they observed quietly, learning about human interaction and emotion. When Ethan cut the ceremonial cake, the sisters inclined their heads in approval, their silent acknowledgement carrying more weight than any words. As the party ended, Ethan found himself alone with them on the observation deck again. The stars stretched endlessly before them, and the silence was comfortable. "You were surprised by us," Lyria said, her voice soft but firm. Ethan nodded. "More than surprised. I didn't even know something like this could happen. Humans, we don't get recognized often." Quote, Celine tilted her head. "Perhaps recognition is not given freely because your potential is underestimated. But potential, once acknowledged, can shape the future." Ethan looked at them, feeling a strange sense of responsibility. I don't know what to say. You've come a long way just for me, and I have to live up to it somehow." Lyria's eyes glimmered. "You do not need to live up to anything. You need only continue to be yourself. That is enough for humans to inspire, and for us to learn." For the first time in a long time, Ethan felt a connection that went beyond curiosity or duty. It was trust, respect, and an acknowledgement that humans, despite being seen as small and weak, could matter in ways the galaxy had yet to fully understand. As the night deepened, Ethan watched the stars with the two princesses beside him. They were strangers, yet somehow not. They were gifts, yes, but also companions in a galaxy that often dismissed his kind. The thought filled him with both awe and a quiet determination. Tomorrow, he knew, would bring new challenges. The presence of the princesses would not go unnoticed. But for now, he allowed himself a rare moment of wonder. Two alien vampire princesses, sent to him as a birthday gift, had opened a door to a future he had never imagined, and for the first time, he felt that humans might have a rightful place among the stars. And somewhere deep in the quiet hum of the station, the princesses watched him with faint smiles, recognizing that even a human could hold the weight of destiny in ways they had once believed impossible. The morning sun of Aurelia barely touched the station, but Ethan was already awake. He moved through the quiet corridors of Aurora Prime, still adjusting to the surreal reality of having two alien vampire princesses living temporarily under his guidance. Lyria and Celine were already awake, standing near the observation deck. Their pale skin seemed almost translucent in the soft light, and their eyes glimmered faintly as they studied the humans bustling about in the station below. "Good morning," Ethan said cautiously, not wanting to startle them. Lyria turned, her gaze calm and unreadable. "Good morning, human. We are prepared to begin the day." Celine's voice followed, quieter but no less precise. "Observations of your species will continue. We are curious to understand your behavior, interactions, and reasoning." Ethan sighed, rubbing the back of his neck. "Curious? Sure. But I hope you realize this isn't some experiment lab. This is my station, my home, and I'm not a teacher by profession." Lyria smiled faintly, a gesture both regal and understanding. "We do not require formal instruction, only participation. Humans often underestimate themselves. We are here to learn from what you do naturally." Despite his initial hesitation, Ethan felt a spark of excitement. Perhaps this was more than a strange birthday gift. It could be a unique opportunity to show the galaxy that humans had worth beyond what most species believed. The day began with Ethan introducing them to the station's laboratories. He showed them how humans handled samples, how experiments were carefully designed, and how even small observations could lead to breakthroughs. The princesses were keenly observant, leaning slightly forward, their eyes absorbing details with an almost unnatural precision. "You work meticulously," Lyria said, her voice quiet but carrying a weight of admiration. "Humans are thought to be reckless and emotional. Yet, you demonstrate patience and foresight." Ethan shrugged modestly. "We try. It's not always perfect. Mistakes happen, but we learn from them." Celine tilted her head, her eyes narrowing thoughtfully. "Learning from error is rare. Many advanced species rely solely on inherited knowledge. Humans possess adaptability. It is impressive." Ethan felt a rare sense of pride. To have beings centuries ahead of him in experience acknowledge human ingenuity was extraordinary. "Thank you," he said softly. "That actually means a lot." After the laboratory tour, Ethan decided to give the princesses a taste of human daily life. He brought them to the mess hall, where various species shared meals and conversation. The sisters observed quietly, sitting with perfect posture, their attention seemingly absorbing everything around them. The interactions, the gestures, the tone of voices. "Your social structures are fascinating," Lyria remarked as she watched a small group of humans laugh over a joke. "The interplay of hierarchy, respect, and humor is complex. Yet you maintain coherence despite disorder." Ethan chuckled. "I guess humans are messy but capable of finding balance." "That's one way to put it." Celine's gaze softened slightly as she studied the interactions. "Messy, yet resilient. Perhaps there is merit in imperfection." The rest of the morning passed with discussions about human culture, art, and storytelling. Ethan realized that the princesses were not only learning from him but also challenging his assumptions. They asked questions that forced him to think differently, to see human strengths as something remarkable rather than ordinary. As afternoon approached, a message arrived through the station's secure communication line. It was from a group of alien diplomats, Ethan's associates, who had orchestrated this unusual gift. The message warned of curiosity and concern from other species. Some viewed the presence of the vampire princesses with suspicion. There were whispers of political tension, of nobles who believed sending such beings to a human was a mockery or challenge. Ethan felt the weight of responsibility settle on his shoulders. What began as a bizarre birthday surprise was now entwined with interstellar diplomacy. His actions, his decisions, could influence perceptions of humans across multiple sectors. He gathered the princesses in a secure lounge to explain the situation. Other species. Some of them don't approve of this, he said carefully. They see your presence as unusual, maybe even insulting. Lyria's eyes flickered with a subtle intensity. Concern for perception is expected, but perception does not equate to truth. You, human, have already proven capability. Others will learn in time. Celine's voice was quieter but firm. We will not be coerced. Our allegiance to this mission remains. If threats arise, we will act, but you must remain vigilant. Ethan nodded. He had always faced challenges as a scientist, but this was different. This involved diplomacy, perception, and the safety of the princesses themselves, and yet, there was a growing bond between them. He could sense their respect, and perhaps even trust, which was rare for beings of such power. The afternoon brought a surprise test. The station's security systems detected an anomaly. A small sabotage attempt on a supply module. A faction of alien traders had tried to tamper with essential resources, possibly to test the human hosting the princesses, or to create unrest. Ethan's mind raced. He had security protocols in place, but this required quick thinking. Stay here, he instructed the princesses. I need to check the system logs and identify the breach. Lyria tilted her head. We may assist. Observation does not preclude action, Selene added. We can help prevent harm without altering your procedures excessively. Together, they approached the supply module. Ethan coordinated with the station's AI, while the princesses used their extraordinary senses to detect subtle energy traces. Lyria's keen perception identified a hidden tampering mechanism, and Celine's rapid calculations helped Ethan determine the origin of the interference. Within moments, they neutralized the threat. The module was secured, and the potential sabotage was prevented. Ethan stared at them in awe. He had always believed humans had limits, but standing alongside these alien beings, he realized humans could hold their own, even in a galaxy filled with species far more advanced. The princesses stepped back gracefully. Humans are more capable than we expected, Lyria said softly. Your response was both swift and effective. Ethan laughed quietly. Thanks. But I couldn't have done it without you two. Celine's eyes softened, a subtle acknowledgement of their teamwork. Mutual cooperation often yields results greater than solitary effort. By evening, word of the incident had reached the station's council. Instead of condemnation, there was admiration. Reports praised Ethan's calm decision-making and the unusual, yet effective, assistance of the princesses. The galaxy was beginning to take notice not only of the vampire princesses but of the human who had proven himself in extraordinary circumstances. As night fell, Ethan invited Lyria and Celine to the observation deck once more. Stars glimmered across the sky in a spectacle that no holovid could truly replicate. The station's lights reflected softly against their pale skin. You handled today admirably, Lyria said. Calm and decisive. Many species would have failed under such pressure. Ethan shook his head. I just did what I could. You both helped more than I could have imagined. Celine tilted her head thoughtfully. This day has proven something important. Human ingenuity is not a myth. It is a reality that can be applied with courage and foresight. Ethan looked at them, a quiet warmth growing in his chest. These beings, so different and so advanced, recognized him as an equal. It was not flattery or empty praise, it was acknowledgement of his ability, his intelligence, and his character. For the first time, Ethan allowed himself to feel something like pride. Not arrogance, but the quiet confidence that humans could matter in the galaxy, that even a species often underestimated had the ability to make a difference. The night deepened, and the observation deck became a sanctuary. The three of them sat in silence, not needing words to communicate the bond forming between them. Trust was growing, respect was mutual, and curiosity was endless. Tomorrow, Ethan knew, would bring more challenges. The presence of Lyria and Selene would not go unnoticed forever. The galaxy had its watchers, its critics, and its opportunists. But for now, he allowed himself to enjoy this moment, a human, a being often dismissed, standing side by side with two of the most extraordinary beings he had ever met. And somewhere deep in the quiet hum of the station, Lyria and Selene exchanged a glance, acknowledging that humans, though young and untested, possessed qualities that could rival even the most ancient of civilizations. In Ethan, they saw courage, creativity, and integrity qualities that would shape the future of not just a station, but perhaps an entire galaxy. For the first time, the human birthday gift had become more than a curiosity. It had become a symbol of trust, of potential, and of the possibility that humans might truly rise among the stars. The following days brought a mixture of routine and tension. Ethan had grown accustomed to the presence of Lyria and Selene. They had settled into a quiet rhythm, observing, learning, and sometimes participating in his work. Yet, beneath the calm exterior, Ethan sensed a storm approaching. Not everyone in the galaxy welcomed the unusual gift. Some powerful alien factions were watching closely, their interest tinged with suspicion and hostility. One morning, the station's security AI alerted Ethan to unusual energy fluctuations near the docking bay. The readings were subtle, almost imperceptible, but precise enough to suggest something was lurking. Ethan's first instinct was to investigate, and the princesses insisted on accompanying him. Lyria's eyes glimmered with focus, and Selene's movements were silent, yet deliberate. "Are you sure this is safe?" Ethan asked, his voice steady but cautious. Lyria tilted her head slightly. "Safety is relative. Observation is necessary. We must assess potential threats before they act." Selene added, "We do not act recklessly, but inaction may allow harm. We will proceed carefully." They approached the docking bay, where several transport ships rested. Nothing appeared unusual at first glance. Ethan inspected the control panels and energy grids, checking for anomalies. Then, Selene's sharp eyes caught something, a faint distortion in the energy field near one of the cargo ships. "Here," she whispered. "It is subtle, but it is present. Someone has tampered with the ship." Ethan's heart quickened. Tampering could mean sabotage or an attempted kidnapping. "We need to act fast. Let's secure the area and alert the station council." Before they could move further, a sudden warning blared. A cloaked vessel detached from the shadow of a larger freighter, moving at high speed toward the station. Its energy signature was unfamiliar and highly advanced. Ethan realized immediately that they were not dealing with ordinary criminals. They were facing professional operatives from a faction that had monitored the gift closely. Their goal was clear: capture the princesses and send a warning to humans that they were not welcome in serious galactic matters. Ethan's mind raced. He was a scientist, not a soldier, yet his instinct to protect was overwhelming. "We need to move the princesses to the safe chamber. Lyria, Selene, follow me." They ran through the corridors with precision, avoiding detection. Lyria's senses detected every sensor in motion, while Selene calculated the fastest route, bypassing automated defenses and potential ambush points. Ethan marveled at their skill and coordination. Humans were resourceful, yes, but the sisters added an entirely new dimension to their survival strategy. When they reached the safe chamber, Ethan activated the protective shields. The princesses studied the layout, their eyes scanning for weaknesses or points of vulnerability. The shields are stable, but external pressure may increase, Lyria noted calmly. You must remain vigilant. Celine's voice was quieter but urgent. They will attempt to breach the system. Their objective is singular. Capture us. Human, your decisions will matter greatly in the next moments. Ethan swallowed hard. He had faced pressure in research before, but this was different. Lives, alliances, and reputations hung in the balance. He activated the station's emergency protocols, alerting the AI to defend key access points. Then he turned to the princesses. We're going to get through this. Together, the cloaked vessel docked forcibly, and the boarding party deployed. Ethan's heart pounded as alien silhouettes moved quickly through the docking corridors. Their armor was dark, almost blending with the shadows, and their weapons emitted energy pulses designed to disable without immediate lethality. Stay calm, Lyria said softly. We will not be overpowered easily. Observe their tactics and adapt. Celine added, use your mind. Human. Strategy is as effective as strength. Ethan followed their guidance. He used the station's layout to his advantage, creating choke points and activating traps that slowed the intruders. Lyria and Celine moved with supernatural speed, intercepting attackers and redirecting energy pulses harmlessly. Ethan realized that their presence made him stronger, not just physically but mentally. The sisters' guidance and abilities allowed him to think faster and act with confidence. As the confrontation escalated, Ethan's ingenuity became apparent. He used emergency protocols to manipulate gravity fields in corridors, temporarily disorienting the intruders. Lyria's heightened senses tracked every movement, while Celine calculated attack patterns and predicted enemy maneuvers. Together, they became a formidable team, human intuition complemented by alien precision. One of the attackers tried to force the safe chamber doors open. Ethan activated a magnetic lock, delaying them. Lyria stepped forward, her eyes glowing faintly. With a subtle gesture, she projected a concentrated force that held the intruder at bay, preventing entry without harming him. Celine whispered calculations in Ethan's mind, guiding him to the control panel that could disable the boarding vessel's energy supply. Using a combination of speed, strategy, and precise timing, Ethan followed the instructions, causing the intruder's systems to short-circuit. The vessel shuddered, and the attackers retreated momentarily, confused and disoriented. Breathing heavily, Ethan glanced at the princesses. They looked composed, yet there was a hint of approval in their eyes. You handled yourself well, Lyria said. Your decisions were effective. Humans are more capable than many species give them credit for, Celine added quietly. We have seen courage and ingenuity. It is rare in beings with such limited exposure to galactic threats. You have earned our continued respect. Ethan felt a surge of pride, mixed with relief. For the first time, he fully realized that humans were not just survivors, they could be equals, capable of facing challenges that many advanced species might fail against. The intruders regrouped, realizing brute force would not succeed. Ethan knew they would try again, but now, he had a plan. Using the princess's abilities and the station's systems, he created a series of controlled traps, guiding the intruders into corridors where gravity fields and force barriers would immobilize them temporarily. Lyria and Selene moved swiftly, their reflexes and speed unmatched. They disarmed attackers, redirected energy pulses, and coordinated perfectly with Ethan's strategy. It was a display of human and alien cooperation, a combination of intellect and instinct that turned the tide. Eventually, the attackers had no choice but to retreat. Their cloaked vessel disengaged, disappearing into the void, leaving the station safe. Ethan exhaled slowly, realizing the danger had passed for now. He looked at the princesses, gratitude and awe in his eyes. I couldn't have done this without you two. I really couldn't. Lyria smiled faintly. It was not just us. You made choices that influenced the outcome. That is what impressed us. You adapted, acted decisively, and used your mind effectively. Celine's gaze softened, Humans are underestimated, but we see potential. Your courage and resourcefulness are extraordinary. It confirms what we observed from the beginning. You are capable of shaping outcomes beyond expectation. We gets lest. We see potential possivers with men. We were capable of shaping outcomes. Ethan's chest swelled with a quiet pride. He had always known humans had potential. But to hear it acknowledged by beings centuries older and far more advanced than him was humbling and exhilarating. That night, after the station had returned to calm, Ethan joined Lyria and Celine on the observation deck. The stars stretched endlessly before them, each one a reminder of the vastness of the galaxy and the challenges it held. "You were impressive today," Lyria said softly, her voice carrying a rare warmth, not only in thought but in action. Humans have qualities that are underestimated. Courage, creativity, and adaptability are among them. Ethan smiled faintly. "I guess I just did what I had to do. But having you both there, it made all the difference." Celine's eyes glimmered as she looked at him. That is the essence of trust. When beings work together, combining strengths and perspectives, they can accomplish feats thought impossible. Today, you proved that human potential is real. Thanks for watching. This fear and intrusive of signs of the first day. For a long moment, silence enveloped them. Ethan realized that these two beings, once strangers and now allies, had become something more, a mirror reflecting the best qualities humans could offer. Tomorrow, the galaxy would continue to watch, and challenges would come. But tonight, in the quiet hum of the station, Ethan allowed himself a moment of satisfaction. He had faced danger, made critical decisions, and shown that humans could stand shoulder to shoulder with beings far beyond their perceived limits. The stars above shimmered, and the quiet glow reflected on the pale skin of the princesses. In their eyes, Ethan saw a rare acknowledgement of human worth, a recognition that even in a galaxy filled with advanced civilizations, humans could matter and perhaps even change the course of events. And somewhere deep in the night, Ethan understood that the birthday gift, once a strange and unexpected surprise, had become a symbol of possibility, courage, and the beginning of a new chapter in the galaxy's history, one where humans would no longer be dismissed as insignificant. The following morning, Aurora Prime felt calmer than it had in days. The recent threat had been neutralized, but the memory of the intruders lingered in the minds of everyone on the station. Ethan walked the corridors alongside Lyria and Celine, feeling a mixture of pride and responsibility. The two princesses were no longer distant. Enigmatic figures, they had become allies, teachers, and companions. Together, they had faced danger and emerged stronger. Ethan's first stop was the observation deck. From there, the station's residents could see the vast expanse of space stretching endlessly in all directions. Ethan often thought about how small humans seemed in the universe. Yet in moments like this, he realized that size or species did not determine value. Courage and intelligence did. "Do you think the others will continue to challenge us?" Ethan asked, glancing at the princesses. Lyria's violet eyes were steady. "They may. Many will doubt or fear the consequences of human capability. But what matters is not their doubt, but our actions and preparedness." Celine added, "Your species has demonstrated resilience and resourcefulness. It is now apparent that humans cannot be ignored or dismissed. Others will learn this, sooner or later." Ethan nodded. Their words filled him with a quiet determination. He had begun to see that humans, though underestimated, could hold their own in a galaxy dominated by advanced civilizations. The birthday gift had become much more than a personal honor. It had become a test, and he was determined to prove that humans could rise to it. The station council summoned Ethan, Lyria, and Celine to a meeting. Representatives from multiple species, curious and cautious, filled the chamber. Whispers circulated as the princesses entered, their presence commanding attention. The council's leader, a tall, insectoid diplomat with multiple limbs, cleared his throat. "We have observed recent events," the diplomat said. "The intervention of the human Dr. Cole, assisted by the alien princesses, has prevented potential catastrophe. While unconventional, it has proven effective." Ethan stepped forward cautiously. "I did what I could, but I could not have done it without Lyria and Celine. Their assistance was crucial." Lyria inclined her head, serene and composed. The human demonstrated decision-making and courage. His actions were swift, precise, and effective. It is not common to see a being of his species act with such capability under pressure. Celine's voice was quiet but deliberate. "Humans often underestimate themselves. Today, this human has shown that potential exists in ways the galaxy may not yet comprehend. We are here by choice, and we support him fully." The room fell silent for a moment. Whispers turned into murmurs of astonishment. Humans were rarely recognized as equals, let alone praised by two alien princesses whose reputation carried immense weight. The council's perception of humanity was shifting before their eyes. After the meeting, Ethan walked with the princesses through the station's corridors. The atmosphere felt lighter. Other species now looked at him differently, curious, respectful, and even a little cautious. "I never imagined humans could make such an impression," Lyria said softly. "Your species is often underestimated, yet your courage, adaptability, and ingenuity are undeniable." Ethan smiled faintly. "It's strange, isn't it? I always thought humans were small and fragile, at least compared to everyone else out here. But maybe being underestimated works in our favor sometimes." Celine tilted her head. "Perhaps. Others' assumptions are often their weakness. Humans possess qualities that are overlooked. Courage, empathy, and creativity are rare. You embody these." Ethan felt a warmth in his chest. For centuries, humans had been seen as inconsequential in interstellar politics. Now, standing beside two extraordinary beings, he realized that humans could matter, not just survive, but influence the course of events. The following days brought collaboration. Ethan worked with Lyria and Celine to develop new technologies, combining human innovation and their advanced abilities. Together, they improved energy systems, created medical protocols for multiple species, and designed security measures that far surpassed the station's previous capabilities. The station's residents watched in awe. Humans were often dismissed as primitive, yet here was one human whose intellect and collaboration with two alien princesses had created advancements that benefited all. The lessons were clear. Human ingenuity could rival experience, and courage could match strategy. Outside the station, distant factions had begun to take notice. Whispers spread across the galaxy about a human who had earned the trust of alien royalty and had proven himself in situations where seasoned species had failed. While some remained skeptical, others started to reconsider their assumptions. Humans, long underestimated, were beginning to earn a reputation for innovation, courage, and resilience. Ethan spent the evenings on the observation deck with Lyria and Celine, sharing thoughts about the galaxy, humanity, and their future. They taught him about their culture, diplomacy, and centuries of history. In return, Ethan shared human stories, humor, and the simple joys of life that often went unnoticed by older, more experienced civilizations. One night, as the auroras of Aurelia shimmered across space, Lyria spoke softly. "Your species may be young, but your actions carry the weight of possibility. You remind us that potential is not measured by age, but by choices and courage." Celine added, "Humans can inspire. Even those who doubt may eventually recognize it. You have shown that respect, intelligence, and collaboration can shape futures previously considered impossible." Ethan looked at them, feeling a sense of pride he had never experienced. It was not arrogance, but recognition both of his own potential and of the human race. The birthday gift, once so strange and bewildering, had become a catalyst for change. Weeks passed, and the station grew more confident. Diplomats, scientists, and travelers from multiple species came to observe, consult, and collaborate. Ethan, Lyria, and Selene became a symbol of what was possible when humans were treated as equals, and when trust bridged the gap between species. Ethan often thought about the journey from that first bewildering morning when two alien vampire princesses had arrived in a transport pod. He had been shocked, overwhelmed, and unsure. Now, he stood as a respected figure, recognized not for fear or superstition, but for courage, intelligence, and integrity. The princesses had also changed. Lyria and Selene, once aloof and formal, had developed a quiet affection and respect for Ethan. They had learned that humans, though seemingly fragile, could display extraordinary resilience. They had begun to see the galaxy through a new lens, one that valued potential and heart over experience alone. One evening, as Ethan, Lyria, and Selene watched the stars, he reflected on everything that had happened. "It's strange," he said quietly. "I never expected a birthday gift to change so much. I didn't expect humans like me to matter so much." Lyria's eyes glimmered. "You matter, Ethan. Not just because of this moment, but because of who you are. Your species is capable of greatness, and you have shown it," Selene added softly. "The galaxy is vast, and the challenges are many. But humans, through courage, intelligence, and empathy, can influence outcomes. You are a proof of that." Ethan smiled. For the first time, he truly felt that humans could stand shoulder to shoulder with any species in the galaxy, that even a human, underestimated and overlooked, could inspire change, create alliances, and shape the future. In the weeks that followed, the bond between Ethan and the princesses deepened. They shared knowledge, explored ideas, and even laughed together, something that seemed impossible in the beginning. The station became a place of learning, cooperation, and respect, where humans were no longer dismissed. Finally, Ethan realized that the birthday gift had been more than a surprise. It was an opportunity, a chance for humans to be seen not as weak, but as capable, intelligent, and courageous. With Lyria and Selene by his side, he knew that humans could rise in the galaxy not through fear, not through dominance, but through integrity, creativity, and collaboration. As he looked at the stars, the auroras reflecting across the station's surface, Ethan felt hope. The galaxy was vast, full of possibilities and challenges. But humans, with their spirit and determination, could meet them, and perhaps, one day, they would no longer be underestimated. Lyria's gaze met his. "The future is yours to shape, Ethan. And in shaping it, you shape your species' place in the galaxy." Selene nodded. "We will continue to support, observe, and learn. Together, humans and our kind can create a future none thought possible." Ethan took a deep breath, feeling the weight of responsibility but also the thrill of possibility. The birthday gift, once bizarre, unexpected, and overwhelming, had become a symbol of human potential. It was proof that courage, intelligence, and collaboration could change perceptions, influence alliances, and inspire others. The station lights dimmed as the night stretched on. Ethan, Lyria, and Selene stood together, gazing at the endless expanse of stars. Somewhere in that vast universe, humans had begun to matter in ways they never had before. And this was only the beginning. The galaxy was wide, full of mysteries, challenges, and wonders. But humans, guided by ingenuity, heart, and courage, would find their place. And for the first time, Ethan knew with certainty that the stars were not the limit, but the beginning.